Elie Wiesel has been my teacher for more than 50 years.
He had to bear witness to the past and influence the future.
But when I see him, he's optimistic. He's optimistic.
Elie made memory meaningful and resonant, not just for Holocaust survivors or the Jewish community, but for people from all walks of life.
He's sort of a living monument.
He has been the moral conscience of our generation.
Elie is most deserving in terms of social justice. I don't know of any human being more deserving of such an award.
When my husband and I look back at our years in the White House, one of the highlights are the times that we've been able and been privileged to spend with Elie and Marion. We always feel enriched by our experience.
The impact that I feel that Elie has on me and on the world is that out of the darkest of human behavior must come love. That hatred has to be a singular orphan in this world, and that love is the only answer.
His emphasis that we must never forget, I think, is a lasting heritage which will benefit future generations. Forgive, yes, but forget, no.
First, he took the tragedy of Shoah from a Jewish tragedy as a universal tragedy.
When I was a young teenager, I read the book Night. It had an incredibly profound impact upon me.
He did so by the force of his personality, by his vision, and by his writing. His words burned.
By him writing Night, which will be there for generations, he reminded everyone that this can happen again. He's the reason why, when each of my 3 children turned 16, separately, I took them to Europe, and the first place I took them was Dachau.
Elie Wiesel saw evil up close. He saw what evil can do to the hearts, minds, and actions of human beings. And for him, never again was not a slogan. It was the reality of his life. It was his devotion, his commitment.
People will always hate and resort to violence. The problem was indifference. And this is what Elie Wiesel says in his writings. That is the great problem of the future. Our founding director said, this is a museum about bystanders, for bystanders. That is Elie's philosophy, that as long as people tend to be apathetic, we will never overcome hatred in the world.
In a place where human beings do not behave the way human beings ought to behave, strive to be human. Elie Wiesel captures this more than virtually anyone I know.
Planning the Holocaust Museum in Washington, I was privileged to be on that first group whose responsibility it was to decide yes museum, no museum. And Elie was the leader. Elie was the force. Elie was the vision.
And I remember that Elie stood there with President Clinton by his side, and in the pouring rain, Elie could barely read his speech, and I believe at one point the speech was so wet he just put it aside and spoke from his heart.
What have we learned? We have learned some lessons, minor lessons perhaps, that we are all responsible, and indifference is a sin and a punishment. And we have learned that when people suffer, we cannot remain indifferent. And Mr. President, I cannot not tell you something. I have been in the former Yugoslavia last fall. I cannot sleep since of what I have seen. Something, as a Jew I am saying that, we must do something to stop the bloodshed in that country.
When I, as part of the City University of New York, aligned myself with my alma mater, the City College of New York. And I was looking for a board of advisors, which now has become a board of visitors for the Colin Powell School of Civic and Global Leadership. I asked Elie if he would sit on my board. And I thought, this is a busy man, but at least I ask, you know, couldn't hurt. He said yes, because he's my brother. He said yes, because he believes in young people. He said yes, because he saw an opportunity to help a new institution get off the ground and serve our society and serve it well.
The moment when Elie Wiesel spoke to President Reagan in regard to his appearance at Bitburg, where the SS troops were buried.
Our tradition commands us, quote, to speak truth to power. So may I speak to you, Mr. President, with respect and admiration. That place, Mr. President, is not your place. Your place is with the victims of the SS.
Speaks just announced that the president would go to Bergen-Belsen, and he will go to Bitburg. So apparently your plea has not, at least immediately, been answered. Does that surprise you?
No. I said earlier, I'm romantic, you know, I'm a big romantic. I thought that since I will make this plea to him, I will implore him that he will get up and say, okay.
You didn't really expect that.
Elie Wiesel is the perfect teacher because he makes people want to listen to him. People literally lean forward when Elie speaks because he brings them in.
I think he sees himself as a teacher. I remember I asked my father, who survived, why did Jews in the ghettos and concentration camps barter and exchange bread for paper when a piece of bread meant the difference between life and death? Why would they exchange a bowl of soup for ink? It was so irrational. And my father said to me, because they were afraid that they will have lived and died and nobody will know. And I think Elie embraces that fear.
He has a love affair with words. And he inspired, I mean, words matter. It's not just a thought. Words matter. And I've never met anyone in my life, and I've met every major world leader in the last 40 years, I mean, literally. But he has a way. And I think his words will live on.
How can I thank you for building bridges between generations?
Do I have the right to represent the multitudes who have perished? Do I have the right to accept this great honor on their behalf? I do not.
No one may speak for the dead. No one may interpret their mutilated dreams and visions. And yet, I sense their presence. I always do.
I remember. It happened yesterday or eternities ago.
A young Jewish boy discovered the kingdom of night.
I remember he asked his father, "Can this be true? This is the 20th century, not the Middle Ages. Who would allow such crimes to be committed? How could the world remain silent?"
And now the boy is turning to me. "Tell me," he asks, "what have you done with my future?"
What have you done with your life? And I tell him that I have tried to keep memory alive, that I have tried to fight those who would forget. Because if we forget, we are guilty. We are accomplices.
And then I explained to him how naive we were, that the world did know and remained silent. And that is why I swore never to be silent wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation.
Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant.
Wherever men or women are persecuted
because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must at that moment become the center of the universe.
What all these victims need above all is to know that they are not alone, that we are not forgetting them.
That when their voices are stifled, we shall lend them ours. That while their freedom depends on ours, the quality of our freedom depends on theirs.
Our lives no longer belong to us, no longer belong to us alone. They belong to all those who need us desperately.
Justice, justice, you must run after.
For us at John Jay and for the world, Elie Wiesel is the face of justice.
For most people in the world, social justice means justice for me, but not for thee. In Elie's case, he has advocated justice on behalf of everybody, even his enemies, even people who don't want him and his people.
A single man that went through the most terrible experience that a person can go through didn't lose neither his humanity, nor his strength, nor his depth, nor his message, and is being, for that reason, respected by every person who cares, who worries, who hopes.
He said, to remain silent and indifferent is the greatest sin of all.
My name is Elie Wiesel.
What Elie has done in his lifetime, though, is remarkable. With his partner Marion, the two of them have simply been an inspiration to the rest of the world. Through his books, through his speeches, but most importantly, through his work, he has demonstrated what love is all about. He has demonstrated what forgiveness is all about. But he has also done it in the spirit of never forget.
He's given me courage. He's given me, he's been so supportive of when I've said things that at the time weren't popular. His strong support for acting and moving on Darfur. He's sort of been a, how can I say it? He's my touchstone. He's my reality check.
He made memory a commandment. Yeah, we say never again, but if you don't remember, if it's not a sacred duty to remember, you'll never get to never again.
The two things, the two people I put in a completely different category than everyone else I've ever met are Nelson Mandela and Elie Wiesel.
And so, once again, I think of the young Jewish boy from the Carpathian Mountains. He has accompanied the old man I have become throughout these years of quest and struggle. And together we walk towards the new millennium, carried by profound fear and extraordinary hope.